And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with Tom Vasel.
Whenever I check out and review games, I'm always looking for a game that stands out. And Corto is one of those. And the reason Corto stands out is because the artwork for this game is phenomenal. It's something different. It's fresh and interesting. It's based on a comic book that's very popular, although I haven't read it myself, and although I'm now going to go out of my way, I think, to find it. And it looks like the comic book is almost a little bit more serious of a pulp fiction from the early 20th century, maybe like a more serious Tintin type deal here. But fantastic artwork. Not only is the artwork fantastic, but this game is very unique. Let me show you. Now this game is made up of different thin boards. See how these boards come apart like this? And I'm showing you all 6 boards included in the game, but you actually only use 4 of them or fewer if you're playing with 2 players. So I'm just going to show you what all 4 look like, and as the game, but remember, the game would actually only be 4 of these boards. Each board has a unique thing, and the order you put them in basically just shows what's adjacent to what. Each player is going to pick a color and take all the influence tokens of that color. Each board has its own deck of cards, and a character is placed face up on each one, and boards will also have different setups for what each board does. Now, on a players are going to have a handful of cards, and on your turn you can play as many cards from your hand as you want, up to 4 cards, which is your maximum hand size, and then you draw 2. So if you only play 1 card, you'll fill your hand up faster. If you play all 4, you won't be able to draw completely back up. Now when players play cards, they're going to play a card. Let's say, for example, I have some of the cards here from the red deck. If a card has a red background, I have to place it in the red zone, and I would place it adjacent to a character who's already there. There are a few characters in some of the decks who have 2 different color zones, so even though this is a yellow card, it could also be played in the orange zone. When I play a character, I also have the ability to play an item with it. Here's a black item. There's black, and there's also white items. I also have the opportunity to play cards that move different characters, Corto and Rasputin. Sometimes a card will let me move either one of them, my choice. So let's explain a little bit about placing cards. When I place a card on a board, I will place one of my influence markers on that card. I then look at the border of that card. So in this case, it's a white border. So what that means is I can place on an adjacent character another one of my tokens. However, if you notice, this gentleman here has little arrows on the edges of his card. That means when I place the influence token, it doesn't have to be someone adjacent. It could be anyone in the same row or column. So I could put one all the way up on this gentleman here. So white borders let you place out more influence tokens. So for example, if I place this gentleman here, I'd put an influence token on him, and then I could put an influence token on, really, that's the only card I could put an influence token on. Also, there are black borders, and there are also characters who have white or black borders, so you can use either one. So let's say I place a character with a black border here. This is white or black, but I'm going to use the black ability. So I put one of my tokens on it. I can then remove a token from an adjacent character. If there was no tokens on the adjacent character, I then kill that character, and that character is removed from the game. And there's a spot over here where the dead characters are placed. See you later. Okay, so that's what players will be doing. And the black cards also have arrows, so when you put one of those down, you can take an influence marker off any row. When you play a character, as I said, you can play them with an item. And when you play a character with an item, it basically does whatever the border. So even if I play a white character with this black item, she would be able to attack as well as put out an influence. The number of times you can use the item card is by the number of noises on it. So boom boom means you can use that item twice to attack. Let's see if I can find another item here. Bang bang. That's an item that lets you attack twice. So you basically are looking at the sounds on it. Here, only lets you attack once. So that's kind of a cool thing, actually. I should mention here before I go any farther that there's a deck of purple cards in this game, and apparently there were supposed to be another board. They took the board out, but they forgot to take the cards out. So if you get these cards, just hang on to them. Maybe they'll release the board later on, but they have nothing to do with the game. When you play a card that moves Corto, you're able to move him, and he'll start off the board, but eventually he moves on the board. And whenever Corto goes, there's an area of influence. And whoever has the most influence tokens on any friend of Corto, you can see here that this person here is a friend of Corto, and this person's a friend of Corto. So yellow would get 2 gold, and red would get 2 gold. To utilize what gold is, you would just take some discarded cards, or even these purple ones, I guess, and you would stick them underneath your token to show that you've gotten gold, and that gold will count for points for you at the end of the game. Rasputin can also move, and he's kind of a jerk, because after Rasputin moves, he can just kill somebody, and the person that you kill is also going to be worth 1 gold at the end of the game. Now, there's other special abilities here for each of the boards. I'll quickly go over them. When you put a piece on the red board, you move the train forward 1. Anytime somebody puts one next to one of the squares where the train is, they attack the train, and it'll take one of these train tokens, which can be either some gold for the end of the game, or boom, a token that you can use later on in the game to attack from the train. In this brown area here, you are trying to collect 4 aces. Some of these come from cards that just have the different aces on them, and some of them are on the different characters. For example, if you control this character, she's worth the ace of clubs. If you have all 4 aces, you will get this card, which is worth 7 gold at the end of the game. I'll talk about the yellow board a little bit later. In the orange board, the 4 spaces that are next to here, whoever controls them at the end of the game will get one of these 3 gold tokens. In the blue board, there's a ship that will move along and can move into different places, allowing you to place tokens next to that ship. And in the green board, if you place a character that has either a crow token in a crow spot or a gold bar token in a gold spot, you will take one of these items here, which are worth 2 gold. And then there's another one that's worth 3 gold. Of course, that would mean one of these other characters would have to be eliminated, and you place another one in that spot to get those. Players will continue to do this until 2 of the boards are completely full. When 2 of the boards are completely full, players are then going to score the areas where they control. And to control somebody, you need to have more tokens there than anyone else. So here, for example, this is a very small scoring. Red would take his largest group. Here's 2 people next to each other. He would score 2 points for each one. So 2 and 4, he'd get 4 points. He'd take every other group where he controls people, and he would score 1 point for each. So you want to have large groups. These Jaguar guys come out whenever someone plays a card with a Jaguar token on it. You put a Jaguar token there. At the end of the game, whoever has the most tokens on that Jaguar can move it a certain spot, and it might be able to it can combine some of your groups to make your groups bigger. You'll take all the gold / points from the different groups you have at the end of the game, plus other things that you've gotten over the course of the game, from the train, from these orange tokens, from the crows, from getting all 4 aces, and whoever has the most gold is the winner. Corto's really interesting because it has very simple mechanisms. Now, when you play the game, you'll say, okay, folks, on this line you need to do this, and these are the special rules for each of us, but the special rules are very simple. And they range from doing something that's really difficult to pull off, like get the 4 different aces, that one's hard, to simple ones, place the card next to it and take the points. And then you have the whites help and black attacks, and that contrast in visual color, white and black, easy enough, and so having the cards being able to play in different rows. There's nothing very complex about this game, but it's so unique and different. I would say, for me, the game itself is a good game, not a great one. But I give it a lot of props because it's so interesting. It tries something different. It has moving boards. It has a simple concept of placing these out. Each board has it. And then it covered in this visual. It's just a treat to put this game on the table. It really is. I'm very impressed with it. And at the same time, I don't think it's a great game. I think it's a good one. Which seems kind of a counterpoint, but I have to give them the credit for just, well, of course, you know, Madigo had their hands in it. What do I expect? They just, their production is always to the moon. And this one is no exception. So my recommendation is everyone should give it a try. It has a little kind of weird area control, a little bit of connection, and a strong dose of theme that doesn't really come through in the gameplay, but a little bit. But just at the same time, when it's out there, people will stop by. What is that? Because it looks something different. It's not that high fantasy or low fantasy artwork. It's not, the typical art or the boring Eurogame artwork. It's something different. So great job on production. Great job on the look and the feel, and an attempt to push game mechanisms a little bit, resulting in a good game. Combination. There's sometimes not so much tension in here as I like, but at the same time, some cool ideas, and I don't know. This is such an unusual type of game for me to review, but I'm glad to. This is the kind of game when I play, I'm like, wow, that's different. It's good and different, and that's my review of Corto.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews, as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at Dicetowernetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.
Shut the door.
There.